Welcome to the Amazing Authorities Podcast, where game changers, visionaries, and category leaders share how they built their brands, platforms, and global influence. Your host is Mitch Carson, international speaker, media strategist, and creator of the Instant Authority System. If you're ready to learn from those who've done it and want to become the go-to expert in your space, you're in the right place.
HR Huntsman is here today. I'm calling in from Bangkok, Thailand, and he's in the USA. I still have an American accent because I can't shake it. And he's a guest today on the Amazing Authorities podcast. Welcome to the show, HR.
Mitch, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, and you know, the question that comes to mind first is it home run Huntsman?
I like to keep people guessing. I never say what the real name is. I've gone by HR my whole life. So you I've heard home run, horse's rear end. I've heard it all.
Oh no, I'm going to say home run because you're known as the total immersion strategist, the business strategist that comes in, diagnoses and prescribes and implements for at least a year. You told me you've got some clients that have been working with you for 7-8 years. So obviously you dispense value. Break it down for us, because what makes you different and what I like before we started this recording today was the fact that you totally get involved. You become part of the organization. You're an appendage, and makes a difference when you have a third leg to move that momentum down the road of progress.
I started my first company when I was 28, and I didn't know what the crap I was doing. I had vision and passion and nothing else, and built it over 25 years to quite large. And I learned a lot of things along the way, a lot of mistakes, did a lot of good things. And so I wanted to give back. So I started Leader's Edge. And yeah, Total Immersion Strategist is right. We care very deeply about helping the company succeed. We become part of their team. They call us we call them we. And we'll spend, usually the first year is called Engine, and we work on all the different systems, 6 systems of business that I've kind of developed my own proprietary system to. Then the next 2 years are called Elevate. That's all about leadership development. So you ask what makes us different. Certainly the immersion part makes us very different. But
I like that, by the way. I get it. Where many people who come in who call themselves consultants or strategists or what have you, they come in and charge a big fee, and they work with some people, and they disappear on to the next job. And
we're on your team. We get to know your story. We get to hear your heartbeat. We get to check your pulse. We get to know your team by name. And that personal touch is one of our differentiators. The other one is we're very good at the strategy side, the logistics of business, the process and systems of business. But our EQ is also really good, and we're very good at the team building side, the human side, the human component, the listening side. So we combine both those two sides, the strategy side and the human development side, and it helps us be really successful with our clients, and it helps our clients really win on a regular basis.
I just had this visual metaphor that came to mind, and this comes into my background as a copywriter. That's why I came up with Total Immersion Strategist.
Yeah.
Instead of going to a doctor, someone comes in and the doctor very quickly diagnoses, prescribes, and you may not see him here, take this meds and go about and do it and take it later. You're much more of a diagnostic physical therapist who works with the patients, clients, companies, helps them move that limb again, get it back in shape, strengthen it, and continue and be able to walk again, be able to do that. I know when I had my knee reconstructed, it was a year recovery. You're more of a physical therapist, a business physical therapist.
That's a great metaphor, Mitch. Yeah, that's right. I have no desire to be the prescription writing consultant that just comes in, spends a few hours on the factory floor and says, here's what you should be doing. I think that's ridiculous.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work. You're right. Your metaphor is right on. We work with you, test those muscles, test the bones, get the joints working, listen to the story, spend a lot of time, And that's why we see so much, I'll use your metaphor, so much greater mobility and health and strength when we're done. For sure. You're right on.
Yeah, because I've interviewed quite a few people in my years of doing
I'm
this.
sure. No doubt.
And also my background in television. That I
Right.
also have a show on NBC3 in Las Vegas. Very few consultants. I mean, there's some good coaches. I'm sure they're great coaches and they know how to throw a Hail Mary because that's what
Sure.
it is. It's a Hail Mary when they come in for 3 hours and hope that they catch the pass. It might be a
Right.
good pass.
Might
Might,
be.
might have a great spiral.
Yeah.
You actually lay out the play, and I probably would liken it to you use your running backs. If that doesn't work, then we throw to the wide receiver. If that doesn't work, you got a strong quarterback that'll take it into the end zone. He has that ability to run.
Yeah. We have a framework of best practices that I've built over the years. I've been doing this a
Sure,
long
tell us about it.
Yeah, some best practices of things that we do, but it's always going to be built around their systems, their people. I mean, like I said, we have our 6 systems. We go through the purpose system, vision, mission, and values, and the team building system. We interrogate their interviewing and hiring and onboarding. But everything we do, we don't just come and pitch our playbook. It's here's some good frameworks of best practices. What does that look like at ABC Inc? What's that look like at EFG Incorporated? Like it's very, very personalized. And again, your metaphor of the physical therapist is right on. The strategy for this particular manufacturing company may look very different than this other manufacturing company because of their passions, their dreams, the people they have on the team, their ideas for how they win. So we come in with the ideas around how to build a true organizational strategy. But for 2 companies, it could look very different because of the nuances and the details of the people involved.
What are some of the steps?
So 6 system, the steps are we methodically go through each of the 6 systems of business. We got your foundation system. That's your purpose. What are you really about? Then we have your
Is that the
team building
mission? Is that their mission statement?
mission. Yeah. So mission, vision, values, and what we call 3 agreements. So
Okay.
that's really about developing culture. You got to start with culture. That's your
Okay.
foundation. So
Okay.
step 1 is all about culture, vision. Step 2 is all about team. So why comes first? Who comes second? How do you get a fantastic team on board? How do you elevate the team that you have? So you got the team building system. Then we go to strategy. That's your what, and that's your how that you do this. Only 12% of companies have a true organizational strategy. They'll all say, no, we have a plan. I'm not talking about a plan. I'm talking about a true strategy of how you approach business from beginning to end, from your value prop all the way through your value chain. Then your performance system. Everyone has to have a number. How do you measure those numbers? What's your cadence look like on reporting? We build all the accountability structures. Then you have all your processes. So the process system, all your systems and processes need to be documented and well thought out. And then your profit system, like what are your margins? How you doing on AR? What's your aging report look like? And all those systems, making sure that we're making the money that we should be making. So we go step by step through all those 6 systems. Takes about 2 months each. And that's why it takes a year, because we're very thorough and we do an intensive deep dive, very methodical, just like a good physical therapist would.
No, okay, good. Diagnose and prescribe, and then if you
Diagnose.
something's not working.
Yeah, you keep coming back to it again and again.
All
And then
right.
years 2 and 3 are all about elevating the leaderships themselves. We teach meeting structure, how to do coaching, how to do correction, because normal businesses, the biggest mistake they make is they promote producers and doers into leadership. They never empower them. They never teach them how to do actual leadership. So
Okay.
they asked us to come in and say, H, can you help these producers become actual leaders? Because they took the best widget salesman and made him leader of the sales team. He knows nothing. He has no EQ skills. He has no communication skills. He has no vision he's a great salesman, but he knows nothing about how to lead salespeople. So we
Totally different skill sets, aren't they?
totally different skill set. So we come in year 2 and 3 and really elevate the leadership infrastructure.
Now, let me ask this. There are 2 letters that might have affected your consulting over the years.
Okay.
One starts with an A and the second letter is an I. Has that
Okay.
been?
We
Has
love
that
AI.
Okay. How do you
Uh, we,
embrace it today? Does it
oh,
shorten your processes or?
it helps us develop them for sure. So we work with the teams, and we'll be on the manufacturing floor, and how do we get from A to B to C to Z, and run it through AI, and it spits out some ideas for us that we may not have thought of, or it took us a lot longer to think of. We use AI all the time as a tool. It's never going to it's never going to replace the human component, but it's a great research tool. It's a great
Bravo.
analyzing tool.
Bravo.
100%. We use it probably every day of our lives with clients.
I'm in it. I'm in Chat GPT every day. I'm
Every
also
day, for
looking into
sure.
Manus, as a tool which
Yeah,
seems to give greater output of content if you program it or input it with the right prompt.
yeah.
Manus seems to exceed that of Chat GPT, which is limited by
Okay,
800 words, and Manus is much more expansive. Just found this out
gotcha.
recently. So,
Okay, yeah, we use, like, I just use it today with the client, as an attorney running a law firm, and he wanted to
yep.
create some discovery processes for his growing legal team. So he gave me the basic framework. We ran it through chat. It came up with some really good ideas that he's gonna nuance and massage, and just like that. So we use it all the time,
Yeah, it's a great time saver, I would say. It's not a
for
be
sure.
all end all. You
For sure,
still
it's
have to
not.
edit, but it certainly saves time. As I mentioned, my background was a copywriter and I went to blank page. This saves so much time and it
How
needs
great is this
tweaking.
for you? Of
Oh my
course it.
gosh. However, I want to bring this up. If you don't
Right.
have the fundamentals in your background, and you rely specifically or entirely on ChatGPT or another AI to solve your problems, you don't have context.
You
You don't
don't
have
have,
an understanding.
no,
How do you go through and learn long form arithmetic? How do you learn to geometrically understand what goes on a factory floor, which you're
sure.
involved in, if you
Yes.
haven't done it and been immersed in it? So your
Yeah.
background allows you to be better and use some of these tools to shorten, but if without the proper background or
Yeah.
experience, yeah, I mean, if someone comes in, hey, I'm an AI consultant, and last week I was digging ditches. Well, I don't think they could replace HR Huntsman.
Right. Yeah, like I said before, it's a good tool in your toolbox. It's very supplemental, but
Uh-huh.
it's never going to replace the human component, where the human needs to do the more intuitive, especially when it comes to connection. When it comes to
Sure.
connect with other humans and EQ skills and interpersonal stuff, like, it's just never going to replace humans. Certainly not
And
not in my lifetime anyway.
no, I agree wholeheartedly. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just not. I think we're in agreement there, and it doesn't teach interpersonal skills, which
doesn't.
the younger generation seems to be challenged by. Even
Sure.
as I mentioned, some people are averse to even getting on a phone call, much
Right.
less a podcast interview like
Yeah,
this.
right.
They would rather chat or
Sure.
hire a voice agent to replace them to do
Right.
this. And where do you see that going? Are you finding the younger generation of your clients? Let's say you deal with the CEO and he or
Yep.
she is 55 or plus, roughly. Let's just
Sure.
I'm generalizing, could be
Yeah.
40 plus. But then they've got middle management that is 40-ish or younger. Are you
Mhm.
finding a communication gap or a way to penetrate their barriers to engage them?
Yes, for sure. So that first age group you talked about, our age group, well,
Yep.
you're in the boomer group. I'm first generation or first year of Gen X.
Uh-huh.
I'll just speak for myself. We tend to be all about results, just get stuff done, plow through the wall. Millennials and Gen Z, they're far more, and we can learn from this. They're far more about purpose and meaning, and they have a better work-life balance than we do. And we have to learn. So Gen X, at the top of the leadership funnel now, has to learn to have those conversations, slow down a little bit,
Mm.
connect on a human level. It can't just be about getting from A to Z anymore. Connect on a human level, get to know the person. And so the way I teach it now is connection before direction. Connection before
I like that.
that
Remember to
sound
write that down. Connection before direction. Okay.
connection precedes direction and certainly precedes correction for both Gen Y and Gen Z. and you have to weave in purpose and meaning there. Gen Z especially is looking for purpose and meaning in their work. Tell me
Uh-huh.
why. Tell me why I'm making these widgets. What's this? What's the end result of this going to be? And
Why?
are we damaging the environment by making these widgets? And who's it going to help? And how are we giving back to our community? And so the Gen X and Boomer leaders have to learn to speak the meaning of purpose, or speak the language of purpose and meaning and connection a lot more.
That is valuable information. Right there is a key takeaway from this interview, because I have found it increasingly difficult, and I am a boomer. I was born in 1960,
Right.
and I grew up under the management style of my uncle, who was a tyrant. He
Right.
was an absolute, the lawsuits today would be out the window of what
Sure.
people would do and respond to his way. He was a Harvard graduate who was a World War II veteran. You know, he
Okay.
flew in World War II in the Mariana Islands. He only knew military. He still, you could eat off the floor, and he was like that all the way until his passing. And that type of, I mean, he was extremely successful in business, but his way of management, just to explain, I couldn't even imagine him today, because he called me every name in the book. I can't even repeat it on a podcast.
Sure.
And he was a Harvard graduate, but that all went out the window. He made sailors look clean and called me every name in the book. And I was right under him running one of his large manufacturing companies. We were, ISO, and I knew so I knew about manufacturing.
Okay.
But oh my gosh, was he a challenge? That would be lawsuit crazy.
Yeah.
Joe Goldberg, attorney at law, would be all over that case with the employees suing.
Well, think
Is that
about,
a dinosaur today? That
oh, for
style?
goodness sake. Well, think about how much the labor market, the talent market has changed. In his day, in your
Huh?
uncle's day, there was a line of people standing out every business trying to get work. So
Correct.
you could just be like, hey, if you're not cutting mustard, you're out. There's
You're
a whole lot,
fired.
you're fired. The talent market is the opposite now. There's a labor shortage, so the demand for people is high.
Mm.
So now Gen Y and Gen Z, they shop for good companies like you and I look for good restaurants. They'll try one for 6 months. If they don't like how they're treated, if they don't like the benefits or the flexibility, they'll just go someplace else. It's no big deal because they're looking for companies that will meet the things they're looking for the lifestyle they're looking. And so our generations have to understand that the talent market is in demand now, not the jobs themselves. Talent is what's in demand. And so making sure people are treated with value, they're heard and seen. Like your uncle, his toes would curl if I told him and said, you need to make sure you honor, see, and hear all of your employees. He'd be like, screw you,
Oh,
buddy.
well, he just wouldn't get it, because
No, he wouldn't get it.
he was a survivor of the Depression, you
Yeah,
know,
right.
and that type of mindset is like, there isn't enough food. These people ought to be grateful to have a job.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's not
and
right.
I got to say, in my own management style of when I took two companies public, and I was a latent learner of his style. I thought screaming at people was cool. Up until about the age of 33, I replicated his style, yelling
Sure.
and demeaning, until
Yeah.
I realized this didn't feel good. I was sick about it. And then I had people quitting. I realized the most expensive line item is payroll. How
100%.
do you retain good people? And
Yeah.
I had to learn the hard way by losing incredible talent that I
That's
had
right.
trained, and they left because I was an autocrat. And then I
Yeah.
softened immensely years later, or no, during the process. And you learn through pain, I think.
Yeah.
And do
Uh,
you coach the execs that you work with, or help reframe a lot of that to identify,
Dude,
or how to relate
absolutely.
to these other generations who live in their phones?
All the time. We're coaching all the time on how to develop really good culture, good onboarding, 80% of retention is linked to onboarding. Like how does a person treated day one, week one, month one, quarter one? So helping develop those culture pieces, onboarding pieces, so people are teed up for success. So they know they're seen, they know when and how to raise their hand and say, I have an idea. And we create the culture where Gen Y and Gen Z can say, hey, I have an idea. And they don't have to wait till 10 years of tenure to say, I have an idea. So we teach our leaders all those things to make sure that your uncle's tactics don't slip through, because that is not going to work today. In fact, that's a good way to sink your ship, is that kind of leadership style today. Because they'll just leave like that.
If you, yeah, but it's so today, so the whole, when you're referring to these numbers, let's just talk about joblessness in the US. I don't live in the US anymore. So I'm
Sure.
not there except when I come and record my shows and then I come back. So my footprint is America or out of America for the last 15 years. Today you mentioned it's flipped, where it was you were grateful to have employment. Today you have to be grateful to have employees. Is that at
That's right.
all levels, or is that more skilled labor and above?
No, that's at all levels. No, that's blue collar, white collar, entry tradespeople, middle management. You if you have a reliable, hardworking, proactive, initiative thinker, that person used to be normal. Now that is fundamentally a high performer. So developing the kind of culture we can create those high performers and train or attract those people, those are the businesses that are winning at a high rate, because that is a rare thing now. So what we teach is how to create cultures that attract and retain top talent and take those diamonds in the rough and create superstars out of them. So we are all about doing that.
Interesting. So you have to really develop these people that are showing performance.
Yes, because they've never been taught. Remember, a lot of these kids grow up and everybody gets a trophy, and they get to business and everybody doesn't get a trophy anymore. Like, no,
Right.
there's only a handful of trophies. So there's some latent potential out there, and developing the systems, developing the culture, developing the brand that says we are attracting high performing potential and talent. We help leaders create that culture.
And what is the amount of time? Because in the old days, let's just say when you got a watch after 25 years of service, you're an employee for life, for Ford Motor Company, for IBM Corporation, Xerox. That doesn't exist anymore.
That's not a thing. No.
No, it's out. So what is the amount of time an employer can anticipate a worker to stay or hope
Here's
for?
what we Yeah, here's what we teach. We tell them we want you to think like a good college coach.
Okay.
You're going to have this high talent for 3 to 4 years, and they're going to help you win a national championship. So you better have a good recruiting, training, and empowering system. That's what, because you have to reload. You have to reload every 4 years. Now you're going to
You,
have some that stay, but you have to think differently. So I teach all these people, you got to think like a good college coach. 4 years, and you just have a system that just recruits and trains these high-end athletes, if you will. So we have to think more like that. So here's what we say. You're a training organization that specializes or excels in manufacturing or law or spinal surgery or whatever it is, but you are a training organization. If we can get people to think like that, you're a training organization that excels in civil engineering, you're going to win. But if all you think of yourself is your trade, you're gonna struggle.
and how do you keep somebody 3 to 4 years? I had a personal assistant. The reason I'm asking this is a little bit selfish, because I had a personal assistant was with me a year and 9 months. She was terrific.
Sure.
September 2nd, she never returned to work again. And I still don't know to this day why.
Yeah.
I have no clue. She was 26 years old in the
That's
Philippines, and
frustrating.
I have no clue why. I never got an exit, never understood. I reached out to her. She read my message. on LinkedIn. And I said, what happened? She's with somebody else as an employee. And I have no clue why.
Yeah.
Well paid, well appreciated, acknowledged, but I have no understanding why.
So each of those one-offs, so there's going to be a particular story there, and she can have some of her own baggage there. So I won't address each one-off, but what I can tell you is, here's what we teach all our people.
Sure.
You have to be so good, you're impossible to ignore. That's your job as a leader in a company. So good, because the person who's coming to work for you and with you, they could shop around, and it's your job to make sure when they shop, they go, okay, no, I'm at the best place there is in my industry, because they're going to be shopping. It's your job as an employer, is your job as an organization to be the top of the food chain. So when people shop around and where they could work, your name keeps coming up. That's your job. And if they leave you, if they fire you, because you just got fired,
Yep.
right? You got fired.
Yep.
When we get fired, we have to analyze, what am I doing that people are firing me? And, the one-offs, not a big deal. But if there's a pattern here, if I keep getting fired at a high rate, I got to look in the mirror. It's me.
Well, I think it could be a combination of factors. I'm guessing, but I never got clarity. I never got an answer. I would love to learn from it. And
sure.
Yeah, but it is what it is. And I have other friends who just say, you just don't know, but it's that's partially cultural.
Sometimes you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. Even if you do an exit interview, you may not get the real answer, will you?
100%, 100%. Yeah, it can't be each person. It's going to be trends. You're going to be looking at trends is what you're going to be looking for. Each individual could be, I mean, who knows? It could be family, it could be health, it could be any number of things for each individual.
So tell me a great case study that you're most proud of.
Oh goodness, so many.
Yeah, but how about a recent one? That'll make it more more easily accessed in your brain, HR.
Let's go with a manufacturing construction company in Reno, Nevada.
Okay.
They came to us, and they were hitting a ceiling. That's where everyone who comes to us is, some ceiling, and they have reached the limit of their own leadership. They've gotten them to where they've gotten them, and for this company, it's about 36 million a year, and they're at about 100 employees or something.
How old are they?
How old are they? So it's the company itself was handed down from dad to kids.
Okay, that's what I suspected. All right,
yeah. It's a generation. So it's the second generation, and the kids have far surpassed their dad, but they've hit this leadership ceiling. And so I was speaking at a conference, and they pulled me off stage, and they said, "Hey, can you help us?" Anyway, long story short, 18 months later, they went through the whole engine process. They're halfway through the first Elevate year. And in the first year, they went from 36 million to 50 million in a year.
Wow.
And we helped them rewrite all their value chain, all their processes, leadership development. Onboarding is radically different. Retention is way up. Turnover is way down. So big success story. Now, is everything perfect? Absolutely not. This is a good sized company. We're headed toward 100 million. This is going to be their second best year ever. And, so there's still work to do, but first year, 36 to 50 million, that's a good year.
That's a huge increase. And do they give you some credit for that?
Oh, 100%. They say as all us.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo. Yeah. I mean, that's got to make you proud. And
sure. I mean, it's them doing the work, right? Again, let's go back to physical therapy. Right. I can tell you, Mitch, you got to do these stretches, you got to do this stuff, and you get to choose whether you're going to do it or not. So if you follow through, and they do a great job of following through, you're more limber, you're more flexible, you're stronger, you're healthier, and
you're ambulatory. You get to walk.
Ambulatory, yeah. So all credit to them for putting in the work. But yeah, they took the leadership, they took the principles and made them personal. And like I said, we're in year 2, and it's even better. I mean, they've outgrown their facility. We're having to build on their facility and look at, buying extra stuff. Anyway.
Where are you based?
I'm in the Seattle area.
You're in Seattle. Okay, because you mentioned Reno, so that's not too far of a jump.
Yeah, we have people all over the country.
Oh, okay. So and what is the typical profile of a company that you work with? You mentioned this company, 36 to 50 million. And
Yeah.
is that the range? I mean, you don't work with somebody with $1 million in sales. That's too small, I would imagine. Okay.
That's usually too small. Now we have helped a few startups get started.
Okay.
I've started 2 companies of my own.
Okay.
I know what it's like to start up. So I'm not above rolling up my sleeves and helping a startup, but we're usually in the 20 to 100 million range normally.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I suspected. So
Yeah.
that
For the big engine, for the big deep dive, the immersive strategy, that's going to be in the 20 to 100 million range.
and how much involvement do you take, or I would imagine you have a team that works with you in
I have
there.
a team.
How much involvement is the team? Are they in there on a weekly basis, monthly basis? How does that work?
Monthly basis. They usually do the follow-up coaching with the different executives on the leadership team.
Physically there?
No, Zoom. It's all virtual.
Okay. Okay.
Now the workshops we do are all in person. So we fly to them. I'm deeply passionate about being in person. So those are all in person. Then our follow-up coaching and all the different team calls, those are going to be virtual.
Oh, okay. Outstanding. And you also help them with their sales and their marketing.
Everything from soup to nuts. So everything and the entire strategy line, what we call the value chain, from marketing all the way to closure, we help the strategy along every piece of that. Sales, marketing, everything.
Wow. Well, that's great.
Logistics, everything.
Well, HR, I would say that's a home run. I'm not going to, that's been a home run today. Yeah. Well, maybe even a grand slam, because a couple of these nuggets I took out, it's not just Willie Mays coming up to the plate, or let's bring, or Mark McGuire, and let's keep going current. I don't know who the home run hitters are today. I've kind of lived in the past, but
yeah, the little dumper in Seattle, or big dumper in Seattle, the catcher in Seattle.
Yeah, I'm out of America, so I'm not current on some of the sporting. Sure. I still follow my college football team, the USC Trojans, because I'm a proud alum. So I still stay on top of that and look. I don't get to watch the games, but I stay connected. Sure. Very good. All good. Well, HR, you've been a fantastic guest today. Thank you, and we'll have you back again when your book comes out, which includes all of these methodologies and the 6 pillars of business. That's correct. The 6 steps to creating this. So when that comes ready, we'll give it a nice little boost and a fire to serve as a bestseller catalyst.
Thank you, Mitch. I appreciate you having me on, my friend.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in to the Amazing Authorities Podcast. If today's episode inspired you, take a moment to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It helps more experts like you rise to the top. For behind-the-scenes access and free resources to boost your authority, head to MitchCarson.com. Until next time, stay amazing.